afternoon, fellow jam play enthusiasts. I'm Tyler Grant here at jamplay.com. Thank you for joining me today. This is a continuation of our live lesson series on classic Americana songs and tunes. And we're doing a very classic, very popular Americana song, traditional song here called Shady Grove. And this dates way back to the 19th century and has been played quite a bit and passed down through the years and has evolved into several different versions. And I'm going to do this version in the key of D minor. I'll just kind of play a little bit of it for you so you get this in your head. Peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I can't have the girl I love, I don't want no gal at all. Shady Grove, my true love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my true love, I'm going back to Harlem. Okay? It's a nice slow rendition. This usually goes by a little bit cooking, kind of bluegrass tempo, you know. But we're going to start really, really slow and take it from there. So this is the key of D minor. However, it's a bit modal. I would say if there was... we're not in true D minor because there's no A7 chord. This is all modal. It's got a minor 5 chord in it. So for more explanation on tonality and modality, check out my bluegrass flat picking method course on Jamplay where I dive really deep into that. In any case, this would be D Dorian mode is how I'm thinking of this. So it's the exact same notes as the key of C major, with D being the tonic. This is the second mode of C major. So we don't even need to think about that too much, but those of you who are curious, that's why there are no sharps or flats on the key signature. Key signature reflects the key of C, but we're in a D modal style modality, okay? So let's have a look at the lead sheet, Chris, if you want to pull that up. And this is a very, very simple melody. And the chord changes are pretty simple too. And so I've got a few different kind of ways of playing it. And we're going to start with the lead sheet, just the basic melody. And it starts with an open D string. Go ahead and get yourself set up, ready to play. D string, open, 2 times. Okay, those are 2 downstrokes. And then we've got this little series of 16th notes. Okay, open D, 2nd fret, open D, 2nd fret of the A string, and then on the C right there. Okay, so that sounds like... Okay, so that's why we're alternating our strokes on those 16th notes and keeping straight down strokes on all the quarter notes and 8th notes that happen in this arrangement, okay? So let's play that first measure really slow. Ready and slow and... Okay. Then open D, 3rd fret, open G, 2nd fret of the G string, okay? That's just a really simple little D minor pentatonic melody. Next measure, we've got 1st fret of the B string, C note, and then 2nd fret of the G string, open G, and then a couple of 16th notes, 2nd fret of the D string, and then an upstroke on the open D, and then that low C note. Okay, so that measure in context sounds like. Okay, that's the rhythm. And then we've got the 4th measure, the last measure of the melody. It goes this da 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 da. So it's down, up, down, down, up, down, down. So open D, 2nd fret, open G, 2nd fret of the G string open, 3rd fret of the D string open. With this rhythm, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. Let's try that really slow, just that 4th measure. Ready and a slow E and a. Okay, so that's the entire melody. I'll play it for you once in context. Of the song, and this is kind of the guitar version of the melody, right? When you're singing it, you might do different phrasings, different kind of scoops and ways you would phrase the melody. Shady Grove, my true love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my true love, I'm going back to Harlan. That's how you would sing it. That's how I would sing it, you know. Different people might sing it slightly different, and there's even sort of whole different sets of lyrics to this song. It goes way back, and like I said, it's evolved over the years. But this is sort of the squared off, you know, note by note guitar version of it. Often when you're arranging things for guitar, you have to kind of get to what the essence of the melody really is and how you're going to play that in this fretted system. You know, you don't have the same kind of bends and slides that a vocal would have, or you know, even a slide guitar or something. So we have to kind of square things off and figure out what the actual notes are and put together a basic version of it, and then we can arrange it from there and embellish and add to that and phrase it any way we want. So let's play that together, those 4 measures of the melody, and then repeat them, okay? And why don't we do this with the track, because it's so easy. And we have a nice slow rhythm track here. So I'll count you in, and let's just play the melody twice through with the backing track. Here we go. 1, 2, ready and go, and. Pretty fun, huh? And this has some real old time, what we call the ancient tones in bluegrass style. It just sounds like an ancient tune. So there you go. There's the simple melody. Let's try that at a faster tempo, just to, you know, you should get this memorized like pretty soon. So let's just play it once more at a faster tempo, just to let it sink in a little bit to our concept. Okay, here we go. One more time, the melody at mid-tempo. 1, 2, ready, go. Repeat. a higher octave. When you have time. That'll be a good project for you. I always encourage folks to, you know, when you're learning a melody like this, learn it in a couple of different octaves. You know, just you'll learn it that much better that way. So this is obviously in a lower octave. You could play it in a higher octave. You'll get up to this 8th fret. That's a hint, that high C note. But anyway, you get the basic version down. And now it's so fun. And these backing tracks are available for Jam Play members. You can download all 3 tempos. That was the mid tempo. And they go on for plenty of time, so you can really stretch out and work on your improvisation in D minor. And it's really fun. I could just do that all day on a song like this. Okay, so keeping this same page up, let's skip the melody strum. We'll come right back to that. And let's look at the last 2 lines where I give you a boom strum rhythm. And this is just to practice the chords, the chord strums, okay? So starting on a D minor, you got the bass note, open D string, and you strum the remaining notes of a D minor chord. I often finger a D minor chord this way. I know a lot of method books would tell you to use your 3rd finger there, and that's totally fine. For some reason, it's just easier for me to reach all the notes here, and also you got that 3rd finger to work with if you're doing little bass runs like that. And also, that 3rd finger's like ready to go down for that C chord. So either way you finger it is totally fine. You'll notice, just, you know, this is why I finger it that way. It's more comfortable for me to use the 4th finger. Okay, so you got a boom, strum, and then the A string. That would be your boom strum pattern on a D chord. So let's just repeat that a few times. Just boom strum on the D, root, strum, 5th, strum, root, strum. Go ahead and jump in. D, strum, A string, strum, D, strum, A, strum. So that's your boom strum pattern on a D minor chord. You could always just do the bass note twice without alternating. That's always an option when you're doing the boom strum, to just play the tonic note again. And we'll do that deliberately on some of the changes here because these chords only go by for, well, there's a full measure of D minor coming up, but mostly it's 2 beats for each chord, so you don't have time to repeat your boom strum pattern on most of them. But what's written here is a root 5 boom strum on the D minor chord. Then you go to a C major chord, and you do a boom strum on the C major. Which, if you've joined us in this lesson series so far, we've done this plenty of times. But there's your boom strum on a C chord, C bass note, the G note. They're always 1, 5 of the chord. Okay, so we just do that once on the C chord, and then we're right back to D minor. And we got a whole 4 beats of that, so we do the root 5, like so. And then moving on to an F major chord. Now, some of you might still be kind of working on your F chord. That's okay. There's a couple different ways to finger it. This is the standard way. And I am just playing the bass note twice, the root note twice on this, instead of alternating. And the reason is, the next chord is a C chord, so I don't want to go... want to anticipate that downbeat of the C chord. So that's why I opt to play the F note twice here. And then you're down to a C chord, regular alternating bass notes. The other alternative going from F to C there is you could go, you can go up to the 3rd of the F chord. Any chord tone is available when you're doing boom strums. And sometimes you'll prefer the sound of the 3rd over the 5th. Sometimes you work little melodies in there, little bass runs. And again, for a lot more detail on that, check out my Bluegrass flat picking method course on jam play. But we got 2 Fs and then a C alternating, then an A minor. Now your typical A minor boom strum would be an A note and a low E. That would be your, you know, if you were hanging out on an A minor for a while. But we're opting to go up a string, same note, it's the E note again, A to the 5th. And the reason I'm doing that is because that just drops really nicely back to the D, which is your next chord change. So instead of going, which works totally fine, I'm opting to go, because this note is a lot closer to the D note coming up. So I like to use, you know, what we call voice leading, traveling distances that make sense from one note to another. So anyway, you don't have to put so much thought into this. You just kind of get a good rhythm and do your boom strums, and that's the basic rhythm of this song. On the track, you're going to hear me opting for different bass notes every time through, because I usually just feel this out when I'm playing it. But this arrangement goes like this. That's the basic boom strum. I'm not really doing any upstrokes yet. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's just go ahead and all downstrokes. Just do this basic boom strum pattern through this chord progression. And we'll play it once through and then we'll repeat it. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, ready and strum and. Time and I'll shout out the chords for you. D minor, C, D minor, F, C, A minor, D minor. One more time. D minor, C, D minor, F, C, A minor, D minor. There you go. Okay, so what's the next logical step? Those of you who have studied with me know what's coming. We're going to do a melody strum arrangement. So this is the same page, looking at now the second and third lines of the page, putting both of these elements together for a nice little guitar kickoff or a solo arrangement of the melody. And it goes like this. We're just kind of throwing in a couple of strums wherever we can in between these melody notes. So it sounds like this. So we're playing the exact same melody notes as the lead sheet and just throwing in a couple of chord strums in the obvious places. Now the thing about melody strum is that you want to play the melody and then strum the remaining notes of the chord. So if I'm playing a D minor chord and I play the open D string, and my pick rests on the next string, then I just strum from that very point where my pick landed. So that's one way to navigate these. But essentially you're separating the melody from the strum, so I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear that melody note again. You play it, and then you strum the remaining notes of the chord, the higher notes of the chord. And then again. Okay, that's pretty clear, pretty simple. Then you got the same melody notes here, this series of 16th notes. Okay, go ahead and play that. And then you have enough time to strum a C chord, just for the remaining notes. Let that low C note ring, kind of like a boom strum, and strum those remaining notes of a C chord. Okay? Next, you've got a D minor chord again in the open D string, strum, then melody notes. Leave your first and either third or fourth finger down, however you're fingering that D minor chord. Leave the high notes down because you do the boom strum, melody, strum, strum. And the last two strums are simply those two treble strings, the B and the E string, because that note on the G string is still ringing. Okay? So let's try those first two measures together. Here we go, really slow. Ready, and a slow, and. Okay, I bet you want to try that again. I do. Let's do it one more time. A ready, and a slow, and. Moving on, this is interesting because our note here on the F chord is on the B string. So all we are actually going to include that note in our strum because we got to have at least two notes to strum, right? So you do your little F bar, those B and E strings on the first fret, play the B string note, then strum both of those strings together. Okay, and it goes by so fast you don't notice. You're doubling the melody note. Then you've got the second fret of the G string, which belongs to the F chord, and you strum those two notes that you're barring there again. So that first two beats is. And then you've got melody notes, open G, down to that low C, strum. Okay? And then melody notes. And a couple strums of the D minor chord. Okay? So that's the whole arrangement, and then it repeats. So let's play those measures 3 and 4 of it, starting on the F chord, just to go over that again. Sorry, I'm sweaty, it's hot in here. Those two measures, let's play them together, real slow. Ready, and slow, and. All right, so go ahead and send in any questions you might have, and we'll take some Q&A during this session here. For now, let's go ahead and play through that melody strum arrangement. Let's play through it and then repeat it, okay? So play as written there twice. Real slow. A ready and a slow and. right, wonderful. I need a stage towel. Those of you who are performing musicians or actors understand the importance of a stage towel when it gets really hot and sweaty, which is, we're getting on into summertime here really quick. Whew. And gets sweaty. All right. So that is a pretty music box-like, very simple arrangement. I could embellish this and make it sound more musical. So check it out. If I'm going to perform this, I might go something like... keep hitting the wrong note. Let me try that again. This is what I get for looking at the page. Once you know this, put the page away. Here, I'll just play Shady Grove for you with the melody strum arrangement. Just feel your way through it, do some more strums, do a little hammer on, do some phrasing stuff. I wasn't really changing anything. Just trying to play it a little bit more musical, a little more flow. And this song usually goes by more like, let's see. With a little more chug-a-log and at a faster tempo for sure. But it doesn't mean you can't play it nice and slow and deliberate. You know, this is for you to learn and enjoy. And obviously I encourage everyone to start really slow, and I'm going really slow to make sure everyone's on board. Okay, we have a question here. When playing the short F, do you mute the low strings, or are you aiming not to hit them? Well, that's a really good question. Any chord that leaves those low strings uncovered can cause some sympathetic vibration down there. And I am just playing this right now without dampening them in any way. And it seems to be working just fine. I just basically aim not to hit them. And if I did on accident, I might reach my thumb up really quick to at least mute the low E string. Because the A string belongs to an F chord. It's the third of the F chord, so if I play the A string on accident, it's not going to matter that much. Once I hit that low E, it matters a lot. So, yeah, good question. I'm not really muting them, I'm just aiming to not hit them. So I'm just aiming for the D string on up. Okay? Another question. When working with other players, would it be feasible to have a player just pick out the notes of the chords underneath someone playing the melody? Let's see, let me see if I can understand this. When working with other players, okay, feasible to have a player just pick out the notes of the chords underneath someone playing the melody? Or would that sound too busy in your opinion? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. Typically, if you were sitting here playing this song with me, I'd say, okay, I'll kick it off. I'll kick it off and we'll play it. That means I'll play the melody and you'll play the rhythm. So you would play the rhythm part while I'm playing the melody. Just like we did when the rhythm track was on. That's the same principle. So the rhythm player is playing bass notes. You're playing these bass notes like the boom strum. Okay? And the lead player is playing the melody notes. Now, you could play the melody strum while there's a rhythm going on. I'll demonstrate. So here's the rhythm part, as if I have a rhythm guitarist sitting with me, and I'll play the melody strum arrangement, and it won't sound too busy. So, you know, I love guitar music, and I'm not too concerned about stepping on each other's toes, if that's what you're saying. Sometimes the bass might be playing a certain thing if you're at a jam, and I might be doing little bass runs that don't line up exactly with what the bass player is playing. But in bluegrass and old-time music, we're kind of supposed to step on each other's toes a little bit. There's supposed to be a little bit of raucous, kind of one instrument playing over the other instrument kind of thing. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just get your boom strum rhythm down, get, you know, different versions of the melody down, just the basic melody like we played and the melody strum, and those always like work really well together, I think. I love those rumbly guitars all kind of playing at the same time, you know. Okay, well, we'll take some more questions here coming up. Keep them coming there on the chat room if you do have a question or a concern. And let's move on to the guitar break. So, Chris, if you want to go ahead and pull up the guitar break. So, that melody strum arrangement, that's for you to kind of take and absorb. I mean, we played it. It takes a minute for those things. That's a pretty basic version of a melody strum. There's lots of other songs. In this series, we've already done a couple of those kind of things. And in my bluegrass flat picking method and the mastering bluegrass guitar courses on Jam Play, we do a lot of melody strum. And it relates also to cross picking. Melody strum is the basis of cross picking. So once you've got a melody strum thing down, then you can base your cross picking on that. So that involves learning the cross-picking patterns and just basically sticking them on there where you would strum. Instead, you'll do this kind of arpeggiated figure across the strings. That's what we call cross-picking. And again, refer to the bluegrass flat-picking method there to get into some cross-picking. So let's look at the guitar break now. And this is basically, you know, it's pretty simple, but it's notey. It's a busier version of the melody, basically. And this just gives you kind of a platform that you can spring off from. Once you get this down, you'll get some ideas of how you can kind of fiddle around, basically, with a melody like this. And then you could just take off and improvise. That's the idea. I want you to explore some jamming on this tune. Because like I said, the notes are the same as a C major scale. You're focusing on a D as the tonic. And if you just ran up and down, you will find these nice little phrases and little ways to play breaks, to play solos on this song. So here we go. It starts like this. You got an open D string, and then you do a quick little slide from the 3rd fret of the A string up to the 5th fret. Okay, with your 3rd finger, that's what I would do. Open D, do the little slide, and then you play the open D again. That's a really common way of filling in space when you have one note repeating. You're basically giving it a little bit of embellishment by sliding this lower note up to the unison. Okay? And moving on from there, we've got a series of steady 16th notes. 2nd fret of the D string to the 3rd fret, open G, 2nd fret, right back to the open G, then down your C chord, just like the melody, and then an open A, C note again, 2nd fret of the D, and then moving on to the next measure. So this is just kind of making the melody busier by adding little filler notes. Okay, so that first measure sounds like... from there, okay? So let's try that first measure really, really slow. Ready, and a slow E, and okay? And notice the first 3 notes are all downstrokes, and the rest is all alternating. So I'll shout out the strokes now as we play that first measure. Ready, and a slow E, and a down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I'm giving a little bounce, a little bit of swing to those 16th notes, okay? And I've had a lot of questions about the way I notate things and the way I count them. I like to use 16th notes because for me that's truly how the rhythm goes. A lot of method books, a lot of tablature books for this style of music, like bluegrass music, flat picking, fiddle tunes, etc., many of those opt to write in 8th notes. And the idea being that publishers and educators sometimes believe that the 8th notes are easier for the student to read and are less intimidating. And for me, I don't believe that. I believe that the 16th note rhythm is actually just as simple to read because, as you can see, they're beamed to the beat. Like if you look at the the 3rd and 4th beats of that first measure, it's da 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 da, 3 E and a 4 E and you'll see that they're beamed to the beat. So it's easy to see where each beat is because they're beamed that way. You see a grouping of an 8th and 2 16th, that's the first beat. And then the second beat is an 8th and 2 16th. So dun 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 dun. And to me, that is actually how the music goes, because I'm counting it this way: 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. If I was writing this in 8th notes, the way many of you are used to reading this type of notation, you're counting twice as fast. It's like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. And when things get going really fast, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. To me, that's actually a lot more difficult, and we call this cut time. So not to diminish that philosophy, that practice. It's technically cut time, so the beats are going by twice as fast than they actually happen, if that makes sense. Because I like to feel it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Okay, so that's why I count 1E and a 2E and a, because those are 16th notes. Okay, so hope that clarifies a little bit for some of y'all. I do get that question a lot. Okay, so once again, let's play the first measure. Ready, and a slow E, and a down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Moving on to the second measure, there's your open D string, we just played it. Upstroke, you play the 3rd fret of the A string, back to the open D, up the scale, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, right back to the 2nd fret, 3rd fret again, open G, and then I do a quick hammer on to the 2nd fret, and then a down, up, down on that 2nd fret. Okay, that's a typical little way to phrase that. Okay, so let's just play that measure by itself, the second measure of this break. Ready, and a slow E, and a. Okay, so I deliberately put this little open D on a downstroke and the 3rd fret of the A string on an upstroke, and then back to the open D on a downstroke. Because that kind of figure happens all the time when you're flat picking, where you might have to skip over a string to get the proper down or the upstroke, because it all has to do with the timing. 1 E and a 2 E and a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? All right, so the first two measures will sound like. Let's play that really slow, okay? Just those first two measures. A ready, and a slow E, and a. Time, nice and slow. Ready, and a slow E, and a. So you hear how we're just kind of making the same melody a little busier. We're fiddling around with it, you know, making it sound like a fiddle tune. All right, and then moving on, we got the same starting note as the melody at this point on the F chord. It's a C note, 1st fret of the B string. And then 2nd fret of the G string open. Repeat that. Okay, so that's that same thing twice. On the F note. An important part of these two beats is that you're alternating your strokes. So this 3-note grouping will kind of reverse its pick strokes. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Try that. Just those first two beats of this measure. Ready, and a slow E, and a down, up, down, up, down, down. Okay? So when you have a repeating figure like that, if it's a 3-note figure, you'll find the pick strokes, if you're keeping them consistent down up with the timing, they'll go down, up, 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 down. I could repeat this figure. Because these 3-note figures are what give us this nice propulsion. And it's the same thing with cross picking. And it's the same thing that banjo's doing. These little 3-note repeating figures that are in a 4/4 time, so it gives you that nice rhythmic counterpoint, we call it. Okay? So that measure, second half of the measure on the C chord is an open G string, 2nd fret, open, then 2nd fret of the D string, open, and then land on an upstroke on that low C. So I put that there deliberately as well to give you practice on that same principle. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, got it? Let's play that measure. Nice and slow. From the F chord, ready, and a slow E, and a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. One more time. Ready, and a slow E, and a down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? And then that rings for the rest of the measure. And then we've got this nice little sort of D minor scale run. Open D, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, open G, 2nd fret, open, right down, same way we went, 3, 2, open of the D string. And then, of course, we do that same little slide up to the unison on the A string there. And then open D. So that last measure is... Okay, and the strokes are down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, down. Okay, let's try that last measure together. Ready, and a slow E, and okay, great. Let's play this entire break if you're ready. If you're not, just come back to it and give it a little more practice. And, you know, mark this spot on the video. It's, you know, 50 minutes in or so, 51 minutes in. And you can always come back and practice this again. Obviously, Jam Play members, you can download the tablature and all of that, and the rhythm tracks. Okay, let's play it really slow before we get to the rhythm track, just by ourselves. Here we go. The whole thing. Ready, and a slow E, and repeat it from the top. And mistake the first time through. Second time through, I got it right. I don't know if you noticed that. Okay, let's try it together, and then I'll take a couple questions, okay? Let's play it with the rhythm track at the slowest tempo, and just as we did it, we'll play it once, and then we'll repeat it, okay? One, two, ready, and go, and... Pretty fun, huh? Let's do that one more time just to practice. One, two, ready, and go, and... Go ahead and just move through the tempos. We'll play it once medium tempo and then once fast tempo, just so you can hear it in those contexts. Mid tempo. One, two, ready, go. Time with the fast tempo if you're ready. Otherwise, just give it a listen. One, two, ready, go. In a moment here, I'll demonstrate how I would jam on this. But this gives you a foundation of how to approach it rhythmically and how to take a melody like this and make it busier, a little more notey, a little more flat picky, a little more fiddly, however you want to think of it, okay? But it's just a variation of the melody with a bunch of little filler notes, right? Okay, here's a question. The song's been recorded so many times. Do you have a favorite? Well, my favorite experience with this song was hearing Doc Watson play it live. And Doc Watson and Jack Lawrence, I actually have a recording that I made on a mini disc. Remember the mini disc recorders? Back in 2002 at the Rocky Grass Festival here in Colorado. And I listened to that live recording so many times. It's embedded, and I just love Doc Watson. I love his renditions of songs. So his version's probably my favorite. I perform this song quite a bit myself. I usually capo 2 to sing it a little bit easier in the key of E minor, and Obviously, the Jerry Garcia, David Grisman version is probably the most popular, I'm sure. That's a recording that many people in the mainstream know, because of Garcia. And that's a little bit simpler, actually. It uses simpler chord changes. It's just the D minor and the C major the whole time. I like to throw a couple of these other chords in, the F and the A minor. Those are the only two different. And I had a really fun time last year. So this coming weekend was a festival that was canceled, obviously, called Camp Out for the Cause. And last year I got to play with Billy Strings on this song on the main stage, and that was really fun. He had me sitting in. He plays it in G minor, which was interesting. So I had a capo on the 3 and was playing it out of an E minor position, which was really fun and different. And there's a video of that floating around somewhere. It might be on my Instagram page or on my Facebook page, because I'm sure I posted it. Because Billy's a big star these days. And we kind of have our little flat picking fraternity of mutual admiration, and he's really, really good, that Billy Strings, tell you what. So yeah, he does a good version as well. Okay, is this song considered a dirge? No. This is a fast. This is Shady Grove, my true love, Shady Grove, I say, Shady Grove, my true love, I'm bound to go away. A dirge implies really slow tempo. We've been playing it like a dirge because I'm teaching it to you at a nice slow tempo. But this is a good uppity number. There's a blazing fast version of this song in C major that you should check out. Ricky Skaggs and Kentucky Thunder does a version of it, and they based it on the Kentucky Colonels version from the 60s. If you look up Kentucky Colonel Shady Grove, it is blazing fast and a totally different version of the song in a C major. Yeah, so here we go. I'm just going to sort of put on the rhythm track and sort of jam on this song for you. And I'm going to start kind of with the basic melody strum, and then I'll get into this guitar break, and then I will expand on it from there, just to kind of show you where you can take this, okay? And how fun it is to jam on this song. literally. So there you go. It's just a great little D minor jammer. Go ahead and look up the lyrics, look up some different versions of this song, and dig into it because it's super fun. Find the key to sing it in. You know, like I said, this is kind of low for me, so I usually capo 2, played out of E minor. And yeah, there you go. Shady Grove. Good old song. So we don't have any more questions. It looks like we're done for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tyler Grant. Thanks, Chris Smith, for managing mission control there at Jam Play. And thanks so much to Jam Play for giving us all these opportunities to keep studying while we're at home. And next week, we got another song on this list of classic Americana songs and tunes. Thursdays, I'm doing the simple Telecaster country solos. So join us Thursdays, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'll see you back here next week for Classic Americana, 6 p.m. Eastern next Tuesday. Thanks so much, everybody. See you next time.